Okay, we will deliberate today on why games are addictive. Have you ever played a game, online game? I can experience it, and child knows that I have experienced. I will be in a better position to tell the child how to take a break because it's coming from my experience. So I would request all of you who have problems with your children on the gaming platforms to play a game for yourself. And then you see, I had started playing Candy Crush one time, and eventually, when I started seeing candies bursting in my head, wherever I was going, there was this candy, and I was thinking of how to switch and how I had missed it, and next time I will not miss it, so I will go back and play it again. That is when I understood how children are unable to get out of it. Growing up children, they do not have the ability to discriminate what is right, what is wrong, which game is helpful, how much I should only play. They don't have that ability. Now you see, even adults, I did not have that ability unless I was deliberately, very consciously playing the game and also consciously experimenting with myself and trying to withdraw. And then it was like just once more, because there is an immediate reward. There's instant gratification. I do something, I'm like, of course, there are these apps also give, well done, great, nobody has done as good as you before, you are the first time, you have the best record. All of that are coming in, and our children are wanting that. I am wanting that. So the feeling of I did it comes on its own constantly, again and again and again, versus a parent or a teacher. You didn't do this. I've done my homework. You didn't do it right. Go back and redo it again. Now, can we begin by appreciating what one small thing the child may have done right? Yes, you sat down to do your work. Maybe you didn't finish it, but I won't say the second part. Just like the gaming apps. Can I motivate my child? Yes, you ate 2 bites of the breakfast I made for you. Thank you for telling me that you didn't have your lunch. Good that you came home by dinner time. Versus asking, why did you not come on time? Why did you not finish your lunch? Right? So think about it. If you have not played any games, I would request you to go back and try. Get addicted. And how hard it is for you to get out. How much are we still craving for that appreciation and recognition? Right? And then when you look at these games, they are at just right difficulty. Any game you start with, they give you instructions, you do this, and they make you do it, swipe like this and click like this or whatever. And then they begin with level 1, you're kind of bored, but you still have to do it. And level 2, still boring, I can still do it. Level 3, I can still do it. 4, okay, 4 is good. So I begin with that, but I can accomplish that. Then go to 5, then 6, and 8 becomes challenging. So it was easy to begin with, giving me a feeling of accomplishment, then started increasing the skill level. So I had to spend a little time. Now that has become a pattern. If I try, I get better. That was my experience. So level 8 is difficult. Maybe I got it in 3 tries. I go back to level 9 now. I want to get it in 3 tries. And sometimes these games are deliberately made easy. It gets difficult, but then they give you these easy things that you kind of quickly finish it, so you don't stay at the same level for long enough time, so you get bored and you quit. They make it easy there, so you feel like, yes, I made level 9 is done, I go to level 10, I can solve it. Then somebody is there to help me. You get that idea also. Few times I will do it, right? And then I'm at level 12. and it's really hard. I'll try it once more. I did that mistake, so I'll go correct it this time. But this time there's some other kind of numbers when you're playing Sudoku, for example. And that unfinished task, I didn't finish it, that keeps bothering me. It's very similar psychological games that serial makers play with us. You watch the same serial every single day for a long, long time because there is something unfinished every day. And you want to see what happened next. So that unfinished task effect, I want to go back and finish it. So that is one thing that's driving, hooking me in. Children are obviously, because they're the front part of the brain where they can decide, judge, is it good enough, is it helping me, not there, not developed yet. They just fall into it. There is this quick dopamine release, quick feeling of good, yes, I did it. And especially when they have team games that they play with their friends online. I did better than him is a good feeling. And if I lose it, I need to go back and do better than him. So this keeps them going. It's really not um, a decision I can take and drop. It requires a lot of willpower. My father used to chew tobacco, and he was supposed to come to US the very first time when I lived there. And someone told him that you don't get betel nuts, tobacco, and all of that in the US. So he said, just before boarding that flight, he said, this is my last time I'm going to chew it. So he enjoyed it to the fullest, dropped that bag in a trash can, boarded the flight, never again touched it. That's extremely strong will to be able to do that. And to develop that will, I need to be working right from childhood. The will development is more by doing a lot of physical activities in the first stage of child development until about 8, 9 years of age. And when suddenly a child is 15 and addicted to the game, and I say willpower, it's not going to work. That's why I need to experience, something that I have done it, I have tried it. It's easy for me to tell somebody else, this is how it is. I know how addiction feels like. I know why going back and playing that game again is an urgent need. So let's do this first, then you can do the gaming to begin with, to ease it out. And what do they do in the time when they're not playing games is something I need to define as well. That has to be purposeful. Adults get bored too, especially elderly people who have retired, who have not the set routine anymore. They feel lost because they have not developed other hobbies yet. We never spent our whole life developing hobbies or alternate activities, and now they retire, they don't know what to do. Everything seems so lost. Identity crisis. I was this person before retirement, now that is taken away from me. Something similar happens with children as well. And if you look at these games, they have variable rewards. They give you points, they give you trophies. See, you have won it, and it's all virtual. My niece one time told me she was playing some games. She said, I have some $700 or something, some money. She said, wow. And no, it's all virtual money. I said, great, like stocks are like virtual money too. She said, no, I can't use it. I can only use them to play more games or buy more pawns or characters that participate in that game. So they keep giving you this. Take this power. That you can knock off the king or whatever the game they're playing. So can I bring that in at home? Can I become a little bit more present to recognize, to reward, to change the rewards to my child? I have to become the game in their life. For that, I need to play. There is sense of competence. If you also play a game and the child comes home in the evening, you know what, I could get to that level. And they're like, what? I need to compete with my mother now. Well, that's after the homework, or after you have cleaned this place up, after that is sense of accomplishment. When I do tasks, that is also a sense of accomplishment. I could do so many things. And then when I play a game, I could play in a relaxed mode, not in like run of the mill. Otherwise, I'm playing a game, but I'm also guilty. I know so many other things need to be done. So somewhere I need to walk the path with my adolescent, agree with what they do. Inwardly, you may not agree, but externally, because they are looking for guidance from us. Am I in a position to guide them? Not by instructing, not by setting up the rules. Somewhere, when I'm walking with them, that gives me and the child a break. Somewhere we slow down, somewhere we pause a little. That is the time when I can even consider effects of constant gaming. Have I really become addicted? Maybe one day you will not make a snack in the evening before the child comes, oh, I got lost in playing this game and I really didn't make it. And then the child may realize, oh, something suffers, right? So somewhere the games kind of give us this real life feel. Life feels uncertain. Games give certainty. Feels like I can control it. Feels like I'm making the progress. Feels like I've achieved something and there is a reward waiting for me. That's why I go back to it. So rather than us questioning why are my children playing so much of games, maybe if I twist that question and ask what could be their psychological need to play that game and to stay in it. So questions that you could ask is, what games are you playing? Just find out, what games are you playing? And what do you feel when you're playing that game? And then what could you become because you have been playing that game? In those pockets of silences that we create. Slowly, surely, such discussions will bring me and my child closer a little bit. The child begins to understand, yeah, my mother is playing the game, she understands what I'm going through. Maybe not, definitely not completely. I would not understand the teenager plight. But when the third question you ask, what am I becoming by playing this game, is something the child may ponder upon, especially when their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that decides judges, is developing. That's a good question that they carry. Try it. Thank you.